welcome to the
2022.
Okay, this is Shane Wilson and Rainer from All American Trains at the booth of ScaleTrains at the Amherst Trainshow 2022. This was right, wasn't it?
That's right.
Perfect. So, and now I will hand over the mic to Shane because he has his new announcement, the EMG GP30 and all these versions. Here we go.
Well, we certainly appreciate you making the trip all the way from Germany, and I know it's had been a challenge to get here. And welcome to the 2022 Railroad Hobby Show, and we're having a lot of fun, even though it's snowing like crazy outside. I'm sure you're going to see that in the video. And for us, we're announcing our first 4-axle locomotive, and as we mentioned, it is the GP30. And several road names in this first version to kind of show all of the uniqueness. We'll start at the far end and kind of work our way across. The first one, of course, is Chicago and Northwestern. And what's really unique about C&W, if you look at the dynamic brake, you'll notice it's a non-dynamic brake hatch on the top. And then another thing, too, if you look at like the sills, the walkways, this one is painted green, which means it's a repaint version, and this one is painted yellow. So a little bit of variant between the two. Then next is the Penske with the train phone antennas, and unfortunately we don't have the final packaging, and the train phones kind of they got squashed, so they're not quite what they should be, but of course we'll get that all fixed for production. And a couple of different things there on the rear of the long hood is the sand fillers. Probably one of the big ones that folks are really excited about, and I'll pull this one out so we can see it. This is a CSX Roadmate, or RDMT slug unit, and what makes it really unique, you'll notice it doesn't have any of the radiator fans or grills on the back, and they would have mated this with a GP40-2 and used it as a road slug. Next on the list, kind of a little out of order, but this is one of the ones that we actually documented. You'll notice that it's got a very unique gray color. This is UP844 from the Nevada State Railroad Museum. Paul and Mike went out in January of 19 and documented this locomotive, and this is actually what it looks like today, and it actually has ditch lights on it, and so we wanted to do something for the museum, and we're actually going to give back from the proceeds of that particular version to the museum. And one of the cool things about UP, and we'll pull it out front so you can see it, is UP was the only one that did a cabless B unit. And we're doing two versions. This is the passenger version with the steam generator and dome, and then this is going to be the freight version. We have got photos, though, that actually show the passenger version running in freight service as well. And then we'll pull out some Rio Grande, a couple of versions of Grand. This is going to be a little later in the Grand era. And we're doing it with the small flying Rio Grande as well as the large Rio Grande billboard lettering. And then my personal favorite, because this is what I model, is Norfolk and Western with the high short hood and, of course, the bell on the end, and a ton of other versions. There's actually 4 different sound files, and you're going to see not just only these, but we're doing a lot of rebuild units like the BN and BNSF. We're doing... I forgot the other two. There's a couple of Chessie rebuilds, and there's one more. I think there's Santa Fe rebuilds, and a ton more road names. We've got already 8 production runs of this planned. So if your road name's not in this first run, stay tuned. We'll certainly have more, and we appreciate you being with us here at the 2022 Railroad Hobby Show. So we're back at the 2022 Railroad Hobby Show, and a release that we're really excited about that will be shipping in February is the EMD SDL39. This is a very unique locomotive. Milwaukee was the only original buyer, and you'll notice 2 versions, one with the snow shields and one without. And the later version, when they took the snow shields out or off, also has an operating beacon. And then they transitioned into, of course, the Sioux Line Bandit, eventually into the Wisconsin Central, a couple of different paint schemes there, and finally were sold to a Chilean railroad, and they're really unique with the screens all over on the windows, which will come as the models. And then a new locomotive announcement we made back in November. A couple of them here on the end. This is the SD38-2. 2 samples here at the show, one for EJ&E and one for Southern Pacific, and of course several other road names, and all are railroad road number era specific. And we just shipped the SD45, so 2 locomotives that would run really well together there in Southern Pacific. So that gives you a couple of highlights from the 2022 Railroad Hobby Show. Certainly appreciate All American Trains and their fans for tuning in.